So do you want to try making 3D models with AI? Well, stay tuned because I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do it. So we start our journey off today in Mid-Journey, where we need to create an image to take through the image to 3D process. So I'm wanting to create a magician, a little statue to represent Modern.Magician. And so I start with a prompt and then refine that over and over again in Mid-Journey until I'm happy with the results. No image generator is going to create the perfect image. So then we take it into Photoshop and do things like removing the background. And the background removal had some artifacts in the bottom of the image. So I had to add an ellipse and then also add a gradient to that ellipse to make it more lifelike. The better the image looks before we take it into the 3D process, the better it'll be. Then we move over to Meshy. Meshy is a really cool tool with a lot of advanced features. You give it an image and it auto generates four different meshes for you to choose from. These are low quality meshes, but you want to pick the best one. So you want to look for artifacts and making sure it gets the general shape right. Once you've done that, then you can remesh it into a higher level mesh and also texture it. You get 4 different retries to do this. But as you can see here, even after 2 different retries, it's still messing up the nose and things. Meshy, however, has some really cool tools for visualizing this. Like you can see the mesh over top of the texture. You can look at the PB. You can also just look at the raw texture on top of it to see how the topology turns out. And this is really good to take over into things like Nomad Sculpt to figure out. Next up is TRELLIS. TRELLIS is free and you can use it on Hugging Face. If you just search for TRELLIS on Hugging Face. And it creates a Gaussian map of the image and then projects that into 3D. And as you can see, it does a pretty decent job and you can download a GLB of it. Next up is Tencent's 3D model. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I'll butcher it. But this is also on Hugging Face and free. You upload an image of it and then you can generate the texture and the model from that. And as you can see, it does a pretty decent job as well. All of them did really good with the base, but this one in particular got some artifacts down there. Finally, we have Bamboo Labs image to 3D generator. And I must say, this one kind of blows me away, but it also has to simplify the models to be printable on a 3D printer. So it doesn't have as much detail in it as a lot of the other ones do. A lot of the details are in the texture rather than the mesh. So if you look at the mesh here, you can see it's rather simplistic, but the texture makes up for that. One cool thing about Bamboo Labs, though, image to 3D, is that you can take that model right into Bamboo Studio and it's pre-colored. You just select the amount of filaments that you have and then map those colors before you import the object. So once you import it, you have a fully painted 3D object that you can just send off to the printer. I wouldn't recommend sending these right off to the printer. You should take them in Nomad Sculpt and edit them. But let me know if you choose to use one of these as a starting point and if you have other things for me to try. Thanks.